Hey everyone, it's Dylan from the Black Forest Wood Company. This week we're going to be letting you guys know what's been going on with the table for Joe Manganiello and why we haven't delivered it yet. So here's a quick recap on the piece up until now. So up until this point, Joe has selected an incredible piece of Bastogne walnut. We cut the piece to size to form the river, we placed it in the mold, and then we did a midnight blue metallic base layer for his table. The reason for the base layer is so that we can see those beautiful live edges on the piece, and then once that's cured, we went ahead and topped it off with 2 more inches of our Black Forest deep resin. Then it was on to the Avid CNC machine for flattening to take off all of that excess epoxy. And then we also constructed a custom height solid blackened ash X-Space for him. We then did a Shusugi band finish, which is where you char the outside surface of the wood, and then we stained it black. The reason for doing the charring and the staining is the charring is actually what gives texture to the wood and burns away the softer sections, whereas the black is what's going to give it that consistent color all the way around. So we have standard bases that we usually offer to our clients, but Joe happens to be 6'5", so he needed something a little taller than standard. So I think the total table height here is about 32 or 33 inches, where standard would be 30 inches.
And then kind of bring it down, rest it, and then kind of walk it over. That way you're not ever taking the full weight, right?
So this table is massive. I think it's like 12 feet by 6 feet, and there's a ton of resin in it. This top is probably close to 1,000 pounds. So we need our entire crew and then some to even be able to lift this and move it. So we're at Jecco. They had us come down, and then we're using some of Jecco's guys too to actually get this piece flipped over. And that was an important consideration when constructing the base as well. We had to make sure that it was actually going to be able to support this top. And if I'm being completely honest, we don't know that it's going to support this top yet because we haven't had a chance to fit it on the base. So that could be another point of contention on this build. When we get this table back to the shop in a couple weeks, we'll find out if the base is even going to work or not. And then here is the first coat of spraying happening on this piece. So this is the sealer coat. Jecco's using an acrylic urethane from Savam, and it's a 2-part catalyzed product, and it's incredible. It is super durable, highly scratch resistant. I think in terms of liquid resistance, it's rated all the way up to sulfuric acid. So I don't know too many scenarios where you're going to get sulfuric acid on your table, but should it ever happen, use the acrylic urethane from Jecco and you're covered. So after the sealer coat, which is essentially just to close off all the pores in the wood, this is the actual 2-part catalyzed acrylic urethane. So this is what's going to give us the protection here. He did do a light sand before he went and applied this coat, but now I think they end up building 2 or 3 coats of this top coat here. this didn't look this hazy when it was poured. This looked clear when it was poured. Like even the wood doesn't, like it doesn't look as brilliant,
matte.
right? And the colors are all like muted down.
Very clearly, it definitely didn't go looking like this.
It's probably
No.
too many layers of spray.
Let's see. Yeah, that's like glass.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we sanded it, so it's not going to be
That clear,
like
yeah.
glass, but it's definitely more clear than this.
You don't want to build too much.
No, we don't.
Build. It goes cloudy.
Well, and it looks like that's already what's happening. Like the whole top looks like when we compare it to how it looked after the pour and now, like it's super cloudy right now. Even when we've been here previous times, it's more cloudy than it was before. So we're losing a lot of that detail. So it's almost like we've got too many coats on there now. And it feels rough.
It's, yeah, like
Cloutiness, right? Like if you compare that to, yeah, like when it was poured, that's the clarity we had before. Yeah, so we've lost that. And then, so as you can tell from the previous clips, we were a little stressed out. What's happened here is, first of all, I want to say it's our fault because we left this table here too long. Jekko did nothing wrong here. We weren't quite ready to bring this table back, and it ended up getting damaged while it was staying here at Jekko's, which is natural. You know, people come into their shop, they see this beautiful table, the first thing they want to do is touch it. Like I'm doing right now. I can't even help myself from doing it. That ended up in some small micro scratches and damage that we didn't want to send to Joe, so Jekko resprayed the table. Something that happens with polyurethane though when you add too many coats is it goes cloudy. So that's what we're dealing with here now. We've got a gorgeous finish that is going to protect perfectly, except it's too thick and it's coming out cloudy. So unfortunately, that's probably going to mean this table is getting sanded back down all the way to the raw wood, which sucks. It's a lot of work, and it's just very unfortunate because when we came the first time, Jekko had it looking absolutely perfectly, but that's kind of the nature of custom work. We deal with this all the time, stuff happens, and now we've got to go back to square one on finishing and get this redone. So good thing we have time, but there's a lot more work and we got to do it all over. The reason that we have not delivered it yet is because Joe's space is not quite ready for it. He is building, I'm sure, a very extravagant room for this table to live in. He was actually saying that like the room has been designed around this table, so he needs a little bit more time to get that prepped and ready to actually take delivery of this. But we've been in contact with Joe, and it looks like sometime around the end of the summer, we're gonna be ready for it. So we're gonna make a big trip out of it. We're gonna go and do this, obviously. We'll show the video of the delivery, but then we're also gonna go see our good friend Daniel at GL Veneer, and we'll do a full video there because we've got like 20 slabs on hold with him that he's being quite kind to do for us. But that's where this piece is at. You guys will probably see it again shortly when we're putting on the ceramic coating and assembling the base, and then the final video will be the delivery.